Alrighty everybody, welcome to another episode of the Water Feature Maintenance Series. So a lot of you may have asked yourself at some point in time, what does it take to clean a pond? Is this something I could do myself? What kind of tools am I going to need to actually perform one of these? What happens to the fish? There's a lot of questions that go into this, but today we are going to answer all those questions for you guys, and we are going to take you through how we clean a pond here at Modern Design step by step. So I'm Tristan Adams with Modern Design Aquascaping. We specialize in building water features out of natural stone and wood, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and you can learn how to clean your own water feature from it. So that being said, Nick's setting up the tubs behind me right now. We do have a video on a sanitization process for this. We got to sanitize all of our stuff beforehand. Click the link up there or over there somewhere for the sanitation part of it, but we're gonna get right down to the first things first, and that's gonna be what tools you are going to need to perform and complete your own pond clean out. Here we go. Now that we've got our clean out equipment sanitized, we've went over the tools that you guys are going to need for your own clean out or for this process. So you know what you've got to have. Once you've got those things and you're set up and you're ready, the first thing we're gonna do is, instead of grabbing filtration components and all that stuff, we're going to do everything we can to not cloud up any of the water. So in this case, we have a UV filtration system on this thing. Those of you who have one, you're gonna wanna unplug that guy before you ever turn off your pumps, or your UV bulb will most likely blow. It might not, but we just make sure in the event that you have one, unplug that guy. That's gonna be your step one after you get set up. And then we are going to start moving water from the pond into these tubs. So we use a mild sedative, so to speak. It is just a pond detoxifier from Aquascapes and Protect for Ponds. We put those in all of our tubs before we even put the fish in there, so that they're just, you know, it's an added comfortable measure for them while they're in there. So first things first, we're getting water moving. We are working towards getting an empty pond, or at least getting the fish out. Now that we've got water moving, we're good to unplug our pumps. Our UV's already been unplugged. Really, we're just gonna pretty much be maintaining and watching these tubs, seeing how much water we can get in there, because we are all about saving water. So if you have the storage capacity to save all of your pond water, I would definitely do it, because you might not even put all of it back. You might only get, you know, 500 gallons, 1,000 gallons of clean water out of there that's nice and clear. But if you save some slightly cloudy water, it's really gonna come in handy when we get to one of the next steps, which we'll go over, which is the rinsing phase and getting all the sediment out. Any amount of water you have that isn't just a hose is really going to help you expedite that process. So we're getting this thing drained right now. Now we can take apart the filters and the biofilters, all that stuff. You guys will see how that's done. And then hopefully, you know, here in not too long, we can get to catching the fish, which is my favorite part. All right, so now we're up at our biological filter. This is our biofilters. Depending on what type of filtration you have on yours, if you have a biological filter, it's probably gonna have some of the same mechanics, but not necessarily the exact same media that's in this thing. So I just wanna show you guys how to take this apart. This is a 6000 series biofilters. And as you can see, there is a lot of good, healthy, organic slime in here. And this is because this is the workhorse of the pond. It is doing a ton of the filtration. Yes. So you're gonna have a mountain of bio balls in here. And the reason I am doing this, the reason I'm taking this filter apart so quickly, is because there is a ton of bacteria that is living in here. The bacteria you're putting in on a weekly basis, that is what colonizes in here and actually filters your water. It's what decomposes all that organic sludge and debris buildup that would be in here. You've got little forces at work that are in there doing their thing, and they don't like to be without water. So not only am I removing these right after I get water moving, I'm gonna have one of the pumps in your case, it might be the only pump. You might want to do this one first. I'm going to take these down and rinse them with pond water. So I've got my pump in the pond, I've got the hose run out, and I'm using the water out of the pond to blast all the sediment out of this media, and I'm going to float them in there in one of the fish tubs with the original pond water so that we can actually save all of that beneficial bacteria that's colonized in here over the course of the last year. Because the last thing you want is a nice clean out and then you're starting all your filtration from ground zero again. So we're gonna get these things clean with the pond water in the tubs with an aerator so they are nice and happy during this clean out as well. And then we can go back to fully moving water over there. But 2 things of bio balls. This is we call these, this is a really nice bio ball here. It's our little amigo, but we've got a lot in here. We cut extra filter pads for our cleanouts, or for our 6,000 biofalls because they can fit it. Why not have it in there? So we've got that one. And that one. And frogs. Lots of frogs. In the event that you do have a biofalls, cleaning these things with the pond water even, it takes a long time to get the sediment out of the pads. And Nick isn't just naturally an angry person. You actually get a lot more of the sediment out when you beat it against something such as rocks or the ground, kind of, not in a crazy fashion, but you know, keep rinsing and then slapping these things against rocks, frees up a lot of that sediment and will expedite the rinsing process. So we've got a pump in the pond pumping out extra pond water. And now we've got the biofalls media we are rinsing with the pond water to make sure that we can save all the bacteria that's on there, just strictly removing the sediments. And then these bio balls and these filter pads can go into one of our fish tubs. We've got our 3 500-gallon tubs set up. We've already filled them completely up, so we've got 1,500 gallons of water saved. What we have in this crazy hole right here is actually something the homeowner devised before the pond was built, and it was meant to repurpose water from the roof, from the overflow of the pond being connected into here, and this is actually a 2,500-gallon cistern that is under the ground right here that is literally fed by the rainwater from the roofing system and from the overflow of the pond. So not only do we have the 1,500 gallons of water storage, which is practically, it's a lot. For most people, they're not gonna have that, but we have a 2,500 gallon water storage right here to put the rest of the pond in and make our lives easier. I know that's probably not gonna be the case for most people in their ponds, but you know, we got it, so we're using it. 2,500 gallons in the fish turn. And put him in there too. Alrighty, so what we're doing now, we've got the media cleaned. We're moving on. The fish are almost ready to be caught. Cistern's filling over there, so we're getting as much of the water transferred as we can. We are getting our fish tub ready to house said fish. So whatever you have that you're housing your fish in, whether it be a tote, whether it be a tub like this, something that holds a lot of water, either way, I would highly recommend having something to keep the fish in here. Because I have personally had, given I've done hundreds of cleanouts, but I've personally had a lot of fish try to jump out. As you can see, there's a couple zip ties in the net. Sometimes they jump more forcefully than the net can handle. But these are things you have to look out for when you're doing your cleanout, because the last thing you want is your fish flopping around on the patio. Does not make a good patio furniture piece, I promise you. So something to cover this bad boy up is definitely a good idea. Alrighty, so we've got our net on. We leave this guy open so we can actually get our fish into there with our fish bags, which we will go over in just a bit when we catch the fish, what those do, what those are, why we use them. But we're getting our aerator set up, so you definitely want to make sure you've got oxygen going into the water while the pond is getting cleaned out, because it's going to take quite a while to clean it. All the fish are going to be housed, and they're going from, you know, 3,500 gallons of a pond to a 500-gallon tub. So really we want to make sure these guys are as comfortable as possible, and making sure you've got aeration is definitely a good way to do that. All right, so now we've got the pond drain down to an actually manageable level to catch the fish. So one thing you don't want to do, trust me, I've learned this from experience, is try to catch the fish while the pond is completely full. You might be able to get away with like a bread ball and a fishing pole, but that's not really our style when we're dealing with our clients' fish. So we get the water drain down to a manageable level to where you can actually get in here and not have to be swimming under the water to catch them. And we use what we call fish bags. And the reason that we use these fish bags is strictly because if you use nets, I've seen a lot of people use nets to catch koi fish and to catch other types of fish. That is one way to do it. But a lot of the time, especially if you have koi that are as beautiful as these guys right here, they are prized possessions, and they are not only just fish in your pond, they are pets. So treat them as such. Those of you that are homeowners watching this video, I'm preaching to the choir on that, I know, but using these plastic bags, you actually don't take the chance of their fins getting caught in the nets and tearing their fins, which is a big no-no. You definitely don't want that. So using the fish bags, we do them one at a time, super careful. I'll teach you guys in this video also how to catch them, how to support their body weight and make sure that you don't end up doing anything to fracture their spines, such as picking them up out of the water. You guys will see how we catch the fish. This is an adorable little salamander that I have here in my hands right now, like a little amphibious dinosaur, and I love him. There's many of those in here. All right, so one of the tips that I'm gonna give for catching koi fish, it might sound random, I don't know exactly why it is, but if you can get one hand over their eyes, you can usually get like a split second of calmness factor out of them. It's different. It's probably not gonna work now that I'm telling you guys this tip, at least on video. You should try it for yourself and you'll notice. But one thing we wanna make sure is that we don't actually pull the fish out of the water, because their bodies are not meant to support their own weight when out of water, and you can actually cause spinal damage that will be permanent to the fish and can cause all kinds of crazy bad things to happen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get these guys, get my fish bag. They're already getting super skittish. You gotta get your fishy meditation on, get in the minds of the fish. And now I'm going to pick one of these guys. All right, so now we've got one of these guys bagged. He's getting super feisty. A little bit of water. You want to make sure that their gills stay completely submerged. If their gills are completely submerged, they can breathe while in the bag. They're ready for transport. We've got a nice grip on this guy. He's under there. He's a happy camper, and we are ready to move him to the tub and on to the next fish. There we go. The fish whisperer. You got like a partial little butterfly fin on you, guy. That's very interesting. Put the salamander down and get in the bag. Beautiful, guys. Holy moly. Any volunteers? Thank you, sir. We are in the volunteer state here, Tennessee. This guy's on board. He came from New Jersey, but we're not gonna judge him for that. People can change. He's not happy. No, I know. That's okay, bud. Well, we got a flopper. So now that we've got all the fish caught, we've got our net buttoned up, those guys are safe, they're happy over there, that's where they're gonna live for the duration of this clean out, and we've got the pond finally drained. So after we get the pond drained, the next step is we're gonna go around, we're gonna pick up all the leaves, all the sticks, all the nuts, all the stuff that's been accumulating in here over the course of the last season. We're gonna get all the large debris out by hand, throw it in 5-gallon buckets, pretty much just to get us ready for the next step, which is to pressure wash. So we're getting all this stuff done, we're getting all the stuff picked up, pretty much back to just stained stones and sediment, and then we can come in with the pressure washer and get all the stain off the rocks and get back to the pretty colors that lie underneath. So I'm gonna get to grubbing this. Oh, Sally Monder. That was a close call, buddy. Close call. So I'm gonna get to grubbing all the sticks and the leaves, the large debris, so that we can get ready for that pressure wash. And all of my little amphibious slimy amigos that live in the bottom of this pond, I'm gonna catch those guys and they're gonna get relocated into the home over there as well. So yeah, that's one thing we make sure of, is because a lot of the wildlife you're not gonna be able to catch until the pond is almost completely empty, such as tadpoles, salamanders, frogs. Most of those guys you're not even gonna see until the water is almost completely gone. So underneath the sticks and the leaves, that's the kind of stuff you should be looking for, unless you just don't care about Mother Nature. Catch them, save them, relocate them. So I'm gonna get grubbing. Dude, one crawled out of the wall too, right next to me. That's awesome. That was sweet. All right, so now we've got majority of the large debris picked up, almost all the leaves, the sticks, everything that's going to be blowing around pretty much by the pressure washer. So now that we've got that all ready, the next step of the process is to begin the pressure washing. And we're gonna go everywhere where the water touches and it's got the crazy green stain on it. We're gonna get those rocks back to as close as we can to their original color. And that's going to take quite some time, but it is wildly satisfying seeing it come clean. So we're gonna get this thing pressure washed, and then we will be on to our next phase, which is the longest part of this process, and is also the rinsing phase. So we're gonna be in here with the hose and with the pumps, and we're gonna be getting all this sediment that is accumulated in here, plus the stuff that got blown off from the pressure washer. We're gonna be getting all that out of here. So we're gonna get into pressure washing. And if you are doing your pressure washing, I would highly advise not only waders to keep you from being completely covered in the organic debris that is going to be flying everywhere, but safety glasses, 100%. Wear your safety glasses. I have one good eyeball. It's a perfect eyeball, but I only got one good one. The other one's almost blind. And the last thing I want is a piece of organic scum in my optical stems. I do not want this. This is how you end up with no good eyes, ladies and gentlemen. Wear your safety glasses when you are pressure washing, please. Can't say I didn't tell you so. So yeah, get pressure washing. Want to do when you're done pressure washing is lightly hose rinse all the rocks, all the plants especially, because plants you can't really scrub. So yeah, you're going to want to make sure you lightly rinse everything off that have all of this pressure washy goo on them. And one of those is going to be my good pal Mick. He's going to be covered in this stuff. How much did it How much did it get in there?
Quite a bit.
All right, guys, so now let's cover what we've done so far. We got the fish out of here, we've got the pond drained, we've got everything pressure washed, and now after the pressure wash, it looks like everything could be clean, quote, quote. It literally just takes the stain off of the rocks and removes the algae to reveal the colors that were under there in the first place. So the real monotony of this process is now what comes next, and that is the rinsing phase. So we luckily have a cistern full of multiple thousands of gallons of fresh rainwater that we can use this hose to rinse with versus your traditional garden hose hooked to the spigot on the side of the house, where this would probably take a lot longer than the other version of this. So this is quote, quote, your garden hose is what you're going to be rinsing with. You've got your pump in the bottom and the lowest point, and now you get to get ready for the most monotonous part of the clean out process, which is getting all of the sediments, all of the dirt, all of the things that accumulated in here, the organic debris and the stuff you just pressure washed off the rocks, rinsed down to the pump and pumped out of here. So, you know, it looks like we've done a lot so far, but really, we're just now getting started. So I'm gonna give a shout out to the homeowner. He has this 2,000 gallon reservoir over here so that we can have something much better to rinse with than our garden hose. So that's the step we're on to right now, is getting to the rinsing phase. So let's get to it. Alrighty, so we've got all the rinsing done. We literally just came in here, rinse, 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 pumping the bottom, pumping out the water as we're rinsing all the sediment and everything out. And finally we got to where no matter where you put the stuff, the water was coming out almost clear. And that is what you're shooting for. When you got the hose spraying in the gravel and what is coming out from in there is almost clear. You're probably never going to get it actually clear unless you decide you want to spend like multiple weeks rinsing that last 5 to 10% out of there. So that is what we shoot for, is 90% of all of the sediment that's mixed into the gravel pumped out and removed. So we got all that done. This is a great time for you to check your lighting system. I don't know how many of you prefer to swim and swap out your lights. You know, it might be fun in the summer, but our favorite time is to actually come out when we're doing the clean out and you've got the pond drained. You've got all these lights that are in here. Might as well check them and see if any of them need replaced. So fortunately, they're all working. Good job, Aquascapes. Yes, beautiful. And we're on to the filling stage. So that's pretty much your complete clean out. That's what you got. Got everything filling, so we got all the wrap up, all this stuff. Nick's getting the skimmer box cleaned out right now. You guys may or may not have a skimmer. As soon as this thing gets full, we're ready to put the fish back in, and there will be a hose in here filling. So most of the time, you're not going to be able to save the entire pond's water. In a smaller pond, yes, you might be able to. You're gonna have some that's cloudy in the bottom that you might not wanna save because it's gonna cloud everything up. So usually we save, I'd say, about 80%. And whatever that last little bit is, like I was telling you earlier, even if it's a little cloudy, you can use it to blast around and free up sediment. But that is the conclusion of our clean out. So all we gotta do now, wrap all this stuff up. This is filling, get all of our tubs back in here, and then we reverse the fish process to get them in there. So I want you guys to be duly noted. I don't know if I brushed up on temperature earlier at all, but the whole koi thing, koi do not like crazy temperature change in a very short period of time. So if you don't know your koi knowledge and you have koi, I highly encourage you to research them further. Figure out what their no-nos are, because, you know, it's not very fun when you find those out by doing them. Doesn't usually end well. And if you care for your fish like these guys do and like I would, then it's not gonna be a very happy experience when you find those no-nos. So do your research on your koi fish. You'll find out what they can and can't go through, and that'll determine how fast we can fill this pump or this pond. How much of the original water did you get to keep during the clean out? Did you have to pump half of it out? Did you save half of it? Less than half? It's really gonna depend on that scenario as how fast you wanna fill, but just do your koi research. Follow us for the rest of this clean out as we get everything moved back in and make a happy transition to get out of here. Alrighty, so finally we've got all of the tubs back in there. We've got our as much filled up as we can. We haven't put the hose in yet, but the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get this net off. So you notice I pumped most of the water out of here. The reason that I've done this is in the past when I've had a good bit of water in there where the fish can actually get an upward angle while I'm trying to catch them, they can jump very high out of the water. And what would be the point in having the net if I'm gonna go to catch them and they're gonna jump out anyways? So I get it down to where they have to be kind of at a downward angle, so if they do jump, it's generally not too high. It's time to remove the net, get the fish one by one, just the way they got up here, back into the pond. Who's going in? Only one at a time. Okay, thank you. Two fishy. Do you know how many you have?
22.
Okay, let's say let's count them now. Made fish number 2. This little creature. Alrighty, so that does it for the fish release. The pond is roughly half full. We've got a lot of filling to do, which for homeowners that are watching this video, if we come and clean your pond, this is something you should probably expect. Is like I said earlier, rarely are you going to be able to save all of the water in the pond. And in this event, yes, we're gonna have multiple hours of hose filling, but we've got the fish all back in here. That's good to go. Now it's time to release the salamanders, frogs, and we're on wrap up and we are out of here. So, yes. Multiple bullfrogs. They're bullfrogs. Yep, I believe so. Yes. Is this like a little frog sauna right here? Yes. He's going. And then the salamanders. Yes, they are. Go free. Get out of here. Go on. Cute little creatures. I find it hard to believe that I got them all on that one scoop. Yes, go down with your amigos. And that's it for the wildlife, guys. Frogs, salamanders, koi fish, oh my. All right, so the final step of the clean out process, for us at least, is dosing with the product. So we don't do algicide right off the bat. There's a couple we don't do. What we do is we do the doses of Protect for Ponds, which has like a tea tree oil supplement in it to help the slime coat of the fish, which is their immune system. I'm gonna go back to the koi research thing because if you have koi, you should know some stuff, like just figure out things not to do, like I said. But the stuff you're dosing with, we do the Protect for Ponds, we do the Detoxifier and Dechlorinator from Aquascapes as well, and that's because, as you can see, the pond is halfway full. So if we have to fill this thing up halfway with hose water, you're gonna need to dechlorinate that thing, because I think it might have been Dad that once told me that he got asked a question about the chlorine. How much chlorine content can a fish put up with? And it's like, you know, the relative term to it was, well, how much smoke can you breathe while in a room and still be okay with it? Like, yeah, you might not die from it, but it's definitely not a comfortable thing. So it's the same with them. They can get gill burn, all kinds of stuff from the chlorine. And yeah, so we do the chlorinator, get that stuff out of there. We do the Protect to make sure they're happy moving forward with that. And we do heavy doses of pond starter bacteria. I can't preach that one enough either, because when you clean all this stuff and you're rinsing all that sediment, man, you can't see it because it's bacteria. It's getting rinsed out of there, but you're gonna wanna replenish some of the stuff that you rinse out of there. Everything you rinsed with the hose that has that chlorine content in it, if you have that city water, it is going to almost instantaneously sanitize what the water is coming in contact with. So we do usually a double dose of the pond gallons worth of starter bacteria, and that's the last thing we have left to do on this guy before we're ready to button it up and out of here. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know we had a good time while I was out here. It's one of the first warm days we've had this year. So yes, there is tons of benefits to cleaning your pond. Not only is it going to look better for the entire rest of the year, and it's making sure that everything is prepped and ready and you're not having a bunch of organic debris build up. One of the things about the organic debris building up is it is really going to be a big contributing factor to your algae buildup. You think about having this nice clean pond right here with minimal sediment load in the bottom. That's less food source for the algae to actually use to grow. So you add in a couple years, couple months, whatever it is, of that organic debris being neglected in the bottom of your pond, and you will suddenly realize you are having problems fighting algae, potentially for a different reason besides using algicide. There's many reasons to it. Cleaning your skimmer, wherever your pump lives, whatever that is, a lot of the time that's going to be one of your most expensive maintenance properties is replacing your pump. So making sure your skimmer's staying clean, or whatever system you have wherever your pump lives, making sure that guy's good to go. That's a good thing to do while we're in here, something standard for our cleanouts. Is this something that you can do yourself as a homeowner? I mean, if you're in this scenario and you have a 2,500 gallon cistern, probably gonna help. So yeah, maybe you could do this one, but you know, you could afford getting these tubs. There's plenty of ways where you can do it, and I hope that you guys can take this video, and if it's something you want to try and tackle by yourself, yes, it is something you can do. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about any of this stuff, any way that we can help expedite your clean out process and make sure that your fish and your pond make it safely through the clean out process, comment down there, ask the questions in the comments section below, and we will be happy to help in any way we can. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Tristan Adams with Modern Design. We're out of here. Sun's going down, so I need to hurry.